Hey everyone, and welcome back to Anime Slushy. It's me, Cube.
And Fiend.
And it's time for Madoka episode 5. There's no way I'd ever regret it.
That's a funny name. This episode is sort of unusual, in that it isn't really a cliffhanger.
No, it actually ends on a pretty okay, I guess it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, the most okay anything sort of ends after
Yeah, if anything, this episode is the most almost like a traditional magical girl thing, because it's like, oh, there's another girl, they don't get along, they have some cool animated fight, and I don't know.
Yeah, it even has little moments in it where it's like they start talking about like how the powers work again, and like they're slipping into lore, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe we're just settling in. Maybe it's gonna be okay.
Wahaha. But we got to open on a little flashback to Kyubey granting Sayaka her wish on the garden on the roof of the hospital, and he reaches his big old weird Kyubey ears into her chest, I guess.
That add a little bit of animation. The first time I watched it is nowhere near as creepy as it is once you know what's actually happening. Once you know that's him sticking his ears in and tearing out her soul. That's Jesus.
Yeah, and then it's like when you see that body fall, it's like, yep, that is just a corpse now.
Yep, she's dead. She cannot connect to Bluetooth, and yeah, she's dead.
Nerd. And then he's like, this is your destiny, accept it. And it's like, oh, she has to grasp her destiny and accept it, but you know she's not going to accept it. It's a metaphor. Whoa, 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 whoa.
You sort of forget what a Ojo-sama Hitomi is, but that's the first scene with her in this episode really hammers it home.
Oh, yes.
Oh, goodness me, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess she just got picked up by the police with a bunch of other randos in a factory, and it was like, I don't know, I guess it's a kind of mass hallucination or something.
I have to go back to the hospital again. Oh, what a bother! This is a strange reaction.
Yeah, and Sayaka, I mean, obviously, partly for Sayaka, it's because, you know, like, she's trying to downplay that she knows exactly what happened. But she's like, haha, what's up with that? And it's like, that's so weird.
Yeah, that's a strange reaction for someone to have too. You should be horrified.
Yeah, it sounds like you were, like, kidnapped by a death cult or something. What's up with that? That's weird.
I also like, you know, while Sayaka's, like, you know, doing that act and sort of laughing it away, it cuts to Homura, who's just sort of like,
her fucking arms are crossed. She's so grumpy, this dumby. Ooh, so sick of this kid.
Yeah, I have to keep watching her be stupid and die and
Let's sigh. It's time to go hang out on a very important setting in anime. I think because it's easy to draw. Those like that kind of, I don't know what you call that kind of area. It's like a flood zone, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like flood control, like a bank, a sloped bank next to a river or a canal.
Yeah, a lot of important scenes happen at such places in anime.
Yeah, there's wind power everywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is the future liberals want.
There's fucking wind farms everywhere, generating electricity. What for? Who knows?
How dare? And Madoka's like, you sure you don't regret it? You sure you're okay with this, Sayaka?
Sayaka's like, oh, I feel so refreshed. I feel really good about this. Thing of justice, da da da. I mean, like, what you eventually find out at the end of the episode is that she was kind of lying. That like, I hear a baby.
Oh yeah, sorry, the little baby. She wants to talk about Sayaka. She's worried about Sayaka.
Like, yeah, what you do learn later is that this is sort of bravado. She's not actually as confident about it as she seems.
She's acting big, but she's like, oh, if there's one regret I had, it would be that I hesitated, and you know, maybe I could have saved mommy if I hadn't hesitated. But Madoka, you don't have to be a magical girl. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. This is all fine.
And it's easy for me to say now that I made the decision. I also like that like that Madoka is like starts thinking about mummy again, is like about to cry. And Sayaka's like, boop, like, you're not thinking anything silly, are you? Like about your friend that died 2 days ago? Get over it. It's fine.
I remember in the original TV run, the way that she like reaches her hand out and touches Madoka is a bit like weird. Kind of like how Madoka got the big hand in the last episode. It's still a little weird, but less so in the Blu-ray. Oh, it's like, okay, here she comes with her big finger. Boop.
Magical girls all get big hands.
You gotta get that big hand.
Like big foam #1 hands that you have at sports.
Oh, it's incredible power. Yeah, and she's like, I found my wish, so that's why it's okay that I became a magical girl and you didn't, and whatever.
Later on during Kyosuke's little performance where she's sort of talking to Mummy in her head and saying how, no, I'm not going to regret it. I definitely made the right decision. It's interesting because I feel like maybe it's partially sunk cost in a sense because like before this, she knew it might not have been the right decision. But now that she's made it, she's sort of talking herself into it. It's interesting how it switched from episode to episode.
Yeah, and I like that it feels like you're not quite sure the extent to which she really believes that and the extent to which she's like just telling herself that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like
I've never been more happy than I am right now. It's fine.
Yeah, this is definitely the thing I wish for. I really, really wanted this wish. Where like, yeah, an episode ago, we were seeing her questioning why she would really want to wish for this.
But also, when she first visits Kyosuke, the fucking chairs! The chairs have come! I was looking at the version differences, and it's like, oh, look at that wonderful TV version where there's just 2 goddamn chairs in his room, and then, of course, now it's fucking chair hell.
Yeah, and they're all different chairs, and one of them's knocked over. It's like, just come and clean up this shit.
Yeah, wait, have we really talked about all the chairs? Oh, wait, I just talked about it in the movie. But the fucking... Did I mention, like, I know it's a Bokurano thing, but it's still wrong. It's still bad. It's dumb. Don't like it. They're just stupid.
I did like one of the very authentic things from the Magia record OP was the focus on chairs. Like, just animations with abstract of just, like, tons of chairs. The bit with Rena standing in front of a pile of chairs.
Fucking love chairs, man.
There was a magical girl who just wished for tons of chairs. And now they've got all these chairs and know what to do with them.
We were joking in the Discord that this is how Homura keeps herself sane. This is a time prank that she likes to pull. So she'll just pause time and then she'll just fill a room with a bunch of random chairs and then just like sit back like tee hee hee hee. And so, but everyone's gotten so used to it that they've started completely ignoring it.
Yeah.
Like don't encourage her.
I also do like in Kyosuke's scene again with Kyosuke as a good boy and leave him alone. One of the first things he does is apologize for what he said the other day because he was, him being depressed wasn't an excuse.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as he's not in the worst fucking situation ever, he's like, hey, I was in a really bad place, but even that's no excuse. I'm really sorry. I said it for all the mean things I said to you because I'm not a piece of shit.
Don't get it. Don't get why everyone's mean to him. Is it maybe because he didn't throw himself at Sayaka? Is that the other reason people are mean to him?
Yeah, I guess like he is kind of dense. Like I know that there's some word of God where Irobuchi said that like even if they got together, he didn't think that it would like be super great because he's kind of like he would probably forget about dates and always be busy or whatnot, and that I could buy. Like him being kind of a dumbass or whatever.
Yeah. But
yeah, just the idea that it's like, oh, he's such he's the worst. I think it's also partly just people. This boy's in the way. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
He's not a Maho. Like they do that thing where they go up to the roof and then he plays his violin for everybody, and it's like, Jesus, there's more adults with faces here than in the entirety of Magia record. Look at all these random adults who are allowed to exist.
It's a handful of nurses and his parents who look remarkably like you would expect them to look.
Yeah. And what's funny is so I guess she only specifically wished for his hand to be healed because his legs aren't healed yet.
Yeah. Or that his legs work, but the muscles wasted, so he needs to build them back up or something.
Maybe. Yeah, it's like you either wonder, like, is she so weak that her wish couldn't sustain healing his entire body? Or is like, oh, Sayaka, that's a little of your real feeling showing through. It's like, I don't care if he can walk. I just want him to be happy. And then maybe he'll still need me.
There was the bit where she was pushing him in the wheelchair in the lift. And it did make me think of Yuki Yuna a little bit.
What if we made a whole anime where this can happen all the time?
Yeah.
Jesus. Then we cut to Kyoko in the observation tower. Kyubey is like, so you gonna fucking fight her? And she's like, yeah. I feel like it.
Yeah. It's important to establish that Kyubey knows Kyoko is going to try and kill Sayaka. And what does Kyubey not do?
Go warn them.
Yeah, he never tells Sayaka. Like,
yeah, and I do love like there's always those lingering shots of just his face, and it's like, what you thinking?
If that even is his face.
Yeah. This is one of the things that made it hard for me to buy his characterization in Rebellion. Is he's like surprisingly incurious about Homura.
It's true.
He's like, there's another magical girl in this town, and Kyoko's like, oh, what's her deal? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like he's even mysterious with her where he's like, well, I must have given her a wish, but I don't remember doing it, so
Yeah, it's like in a sense she did, in a sense she didn't. I don't know. And it's like, does that not bother you, Kyubey?
the actual mechanics of the magic in Madoka are vague.
Yeah.
It plays into the way I've always thought of it working, which is that Kyubey doesn't actually have a great deal of control over it. He's almost kind of like early nuclear scientists building reactors, whereas like you understand the principles, but you don't have total control over the reaction that's happening, or even completely understand it.
Yeah.
He's a vector to make the wishes happen, and he's there to collect the energy. But if he had total control over what was happening, he wouldn't allow Madoka's final wish. He'd be more interested in what was going on with Homura. In a sense, he's just sort of there to go with the flow and sort of manage things. Just all he's really got to do is just make sure there's magical girls coming and going.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems a little bit like, I'm just going to do the exact amount of work that I need to do.
I mean, that's another theory. He's just slack. It's just obviously his plan here is to, like I said before, put pressure on Madoka to get it to turn. Homura keeps getting in the way of that, and he doesn't seem that bothered about stopping her. Like maybe what he says about how I really can't do anything about a magical girl if she decides to just go against what I say is actually true. Like you really can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's not like he can kill witches or whatnot.
No, he can't kill witches. He can't really harm magical girls.
Yeah, but you'd think he'd want to at least like spy on Homura and figure out what her deal is, which maybe he's doing on the side. Who knows?
Yeah, you get the impression he might be. When she kills that Kyubey, there was another one right there.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that was no one was there because it was following Homura.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, God,
Maybe? I don't know.
it is interesting how we never know exactly like how many active bodies he has and where they come from and stuff. He's just very Lovecraftian.
He's just there in your window, being a creep. The conversation between Homura and Madoka, where Madoka asks Homura to look after Sayaka, I think it's the most interesting scene in this episode.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Homura's been through enough loops at this point that when she tells Madoka to like just give up on her, this friend of yours that you really love, that you're currently like telling me why she's a good person and everything, you need to just forget her and let her go. She has to know that's not going to work. Like Madoka isn't gonna go okay and just like delete Sayaka's contact details from her phone.
Right.
What I assume is that this is Homura doing as much as she can to set Madoka up for what's coming without actually telling her. I assume from this point onwards that Homura is going to stick to Madoka like glue to make sure she doesn't make a wish to save Sayaka,
Right.
which is like why she shows up immediately as soon as it's about to happen. So in a sense, she's going to be watching Sayaka because she's going to be watching Madoka at the same time.
And then later she has that little confrontation with Sayaka.
Yeah.
So she's going to look after her in a sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like trying to emotionally prepare Madoka for Sayaka being unsavable.
Yeah. It's like there's that bit where Madoka says, like, what if we all just sort of work together? Surely we could, if we all fought together, it would be really good. And you see Homura go, like,
Been there, done that.
yeah, it doesn't work, buddy.
Yeah, and I like that clearly, like, she makes it very clear that she's given up on herself in a way, like, she can never be saved. She just wants to save Madoka. And it's like, you little dummy.
And it really does strike me on this rewatch how much of a parallel to Homura Sayaka is.
Yeah.
Everything that Homura says, like why Sayaka isn't suited to be a magical girl. She made a wish for someone else. She's headstrong. She craves recognition as well, and thanks, which she's not going to get.
Mm.
These are all things that describe Homura as well.
Yeah, I never really thought about it either. I feel like this is the only scene that draws an explicit comparison between the two of them.
Like we've said before, all the criticisms of Sayaka's way of doing things, she's essentially each time criticizing herself.
Yeah.
It's just that Homura is better at being a magical girl than Sayaka is. Because she's still stubborn in what she's doing. Like she should have given up ages ago, but she's not. She still made a wish for someone else's sake.
Oh yeah.
She still craves recognition and thanks and gratitude for what she's doing and knows she won't get it. It's not just because like Kyosuke is a thick tool. It's because Madoka literally doesn't remember what happened. Homura is basically Sayaka, but even more fucked in a way.
Yeah.
Which is probably why she pisses her off so much.
Yeah. And then, of course, she does the super extra thing, but I still kind of like it, where she takes the lid off to represent mommy being beheaded. It's so extra. But I like it.
She buys that coffee, takes the lid off, and then just leaves it there.
This is for my visual presentation. Hey, remember how mommy died?
There's a scene, like, immediately after that one where Madoka just sits there very sadly eating the lunch she bought. She got like a whole burger and chips and everything. It's like, well, my friend's doomed and Mummy's dead. Time for burger.
It's just more eggs. This also reminds me of Mommy.
Oh no, these chips are yellow. Oh no.
Fries, they're yellow. Just like Mommy. Anyway, we cut to Sayaka's apartment. What is Kyubey doing?
This is something I like. Because this is this thing of like where it's sort of tilting back towards being a magical girl show. When Kyubey is around people, like in the first 2 episodes, when Kyubey is around people who don't know like the full extent of what he is, he behaves much more like a mascot character.
Yeah.
He's doing cute poses and sort of silly like little animal things. Whereas around like say Kyoko, around Homura, he doesn't do those things. He just sits there like he normally sits.
Yeah. It's funny because it almost looks like he's being blown by a fan, but I didn't see a fan. He's just like pantomiming being blown by the wind. It's like, what are you doing?
He's all stretched out.
You little doofus. It's pretty cute though.
Yeah, exactly. He's being cute.
Yeah, even knowing he's Satan. Pretty cute.
Wow, they actually do have Moe Satan, don't they? And again, Sayaka is about to go out. He's saying, "Are you nervous? I'm not going to tell you about Kyoko's coming to kill you."
Right.
Yeah. Ugh.
You little shit. Yeah, Madoka meets her downstairs and she's like, "Can I come even though I'm useless?" And Sayaka's like, "Oh, yeah, I could really use some company, like, actually."
Yeah, I'm terrified. I'm shaking.
And he's like, "I'm stupid, so I might do something reckless if I'm by myself," which, you know, I like how she knows what her character flaws are. She just can't overcome them.
Well, the trouble is she's already done the reckless thing. like Homura says, it's over. She's doomed already. She's done the reckless thing. Knowledge of what she does wrong is not going to help at this point.
Well, she's going to continue to be reckless, though.
That's true.
And it's not going to help.
No.
And I like, you know, of course, Kyubey has to be like, "Well, of course, Madoka, there is one thing you can do. I'm here for you, Madoka. Wink, 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 wink."
I do like that little familiar we see in the little plane. He's fun.
Oh, yeah. And it's like,
Yeah. Ever since Charlotte, they've all gotten more cartoony.
at least temporarily. But yeah, it's like as soon as they enter this alleyway, I'm like, yeah, it's time for some motherfucking Sakuga.
It is funny how, like, thinking about Shaft and the way they work, and how, like, yeah, even in these episodes, there's still, like, you see long shots where everything's real jank. But it's fine because the Sakuga looks good. This is one of those times where they managed to apply their effort in the right place.
Yeah.
They ran on a schedule and they saved everything up. Like, all the things that look stupid and had to be fixed were things that mattered less than this. And like even in the like the good looking fight scenes, when he goes around frame by frame, a lot of this like the sort of smear frames and the in betweens are also kind of rough in places, but it doesn't matter. Like because the actual flow of the animation is really good. So yeah, it's interesting.
That's the magic of animation, man.
Yeah,
Like it kind of feels like she's copying Mommy's way of fighting, the way that she like transforms and then throws a bunch of swords on the ground and then throws them. It's like, I don't know if this is the best way for you to fight. Actually, you do not have gun.
like she cape around herself, pulls it back. There's a bunch of swords, and then throws swords. It's like,
I mean, it does look pretty cool. I will grant you.
Yeah, it does. But then she stopped. Oh no!
Hey, it's me, Kyoko.
Listen, chick.
Oh yeah, that's right. She says stuff like that in the dub, and it's great. I love it. I love dub Kyoko. It's very silly. At one point, she calls Sayaka a bitch, and it's really funny. It's just really funny to hear an anime girl say the word bitch.
Yeah, with that sort of slightly squeaky voice.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, "Don't kill it yet. So why would you slaughter the chicken before it lays its eggs? Blah, blah, blah. The food chain, blah, blah." Let's fight.
Yeah, I was wondering with this, like, later on we find out Kyoko isn't as harsh of a character as she makes out to be. Like, particularly in this scene. I get the impression she was willing to kill Sayaka. But the stuff she's saying about letting other people die in order to make grief seeds and stuff, do you think she's putting it on a bit because she's just trying to rile Sayaka up?
I think so. Or I think, like, she's putting it on a bit for herself because, you know, obviously what happened with her family was so awful that she's kind of like super leaning into nihilism as a way to be like, well, that all didn't work out. Fuck it. I'm ultra nihilist now.
Yeah.
Food chain, blah, blah, blah.
It's part of her way of coping with what happened to her.
Yeah.
Even though in the end she reverts because, like, in the end she made a selfless wish as well.
Which is why Sayaka's pisses her off so much.
Yeah. Again, it's this thing with Sayaka as everyone, but just a bad version. It really does feel like she's laying it on thick just to annoy Sayaka a bit.
Probably a little.
Once, like, one of the first things Sayaka says is like, "What about it hurting other people?" And Kyoko sort of almost has this reaction like, "Oh, you're one of those. Okay, you're one of those justice types. All right."
You're one of those nicey niceys. I guess we're just gonna have to have some Sakuga then.
It's a pretty good fight. It's a pretty cool weapon.
Oh, it's fucking great. The colors, the way Kyoko's spear works and flows is just so fucking cool.
It does make Sayaka look hopeless as well. Like, because she, like last episode, you know, he's the cool cape, the cool sword, and it's like now you're fighting someone who's got this chain that's just whipping around all over screen in different directions, and you're so fucked.
Yeah.
I was going to say there was one little detail in this scene that I do think is like that sort of pretending we're getting back to regular ass magical girl lore. The bit where Sayaka heals faster than Kyoko was expecting, and Kyubey's like, "Oh yeah, it's because she made a healing wish. So that means she gets healing powers." It's like everyone, you know, they're still running with the idea of specialties
Yeah.
based on wishes and sort of abstract magic. And I was like, that's a cool little detail. I don't know.
I like how Kyoko is like, that attack should have put you in the hospital for 3 months. And it's like, really, Kyoko? How does that even work with your fucking Maho anatomy? What are you saying?
Yeah,
are you just blustering?
She has to be blustering because that doesn't make any sense for magical girls. They don't go to the hospital. They're like,
yeah, and just the idea that's like, oh, I think that's about that was like a 3 months hospital attack I did just there. What the heck?
Yeah.
There's some really stupid word of God. I forget when he said it, but apparently mommy is like, she has ribbons because she wanted to be tied to life or something. And it's like, unless there's some Japanese idiom that I'm just not familiar with, that's dumb. That's dumb.
Maybe there's some amazing pun that's being made there or something.
Yeah, if someone understands a reason why that's not a stupid thing to say, please explain it to me. Because it sounds very silly.
I read some other interpretation of it where she was talking about how she wanted to be connected with other people.
Yeah.
Which I think might have come from one of the side properties or something. But the idea that, like, I'm going to connect with people with ribbons, it's like, well, that's a thing. We've seen another magical...
That's called a kink.
We've seen that in other shows.
And then what is Kyoko's? It's like she wanted her father's words to pierce the hearts of his congregation, so she has a spear. Actually, that one works better. I just came up with a better one than your stupid mommy excuse.
I did see something about somewhere someone had written this idea that, like, Kyoko is supposed to have, like, the power to sort of convince people of things and talk people into stuff.
That must be a side material thing.
Yeah, because that's not demonstrated at any point.
No.
Multiple times she tries to talk Sayaka out of something and it never works. So no, she's not good
it
at
would have
that.
made sense if she did, but yeah, I don't think that's the case in this TV show.
No.
Yeah, and then of course Madoka's like, but there's no wishes. Why are they fighting? Kyubey, do something. And he's like, I guess you could become a Madoka.
You know what would fix this? And then Homura comes in all cool, does the hair flip.
Oh yeah, she does a little tippy step into the puddle, and she's like, "Hey, I'm a boss bitch. How's it going?"
Neither of you have the sufficient boss bitch energy that Mommy had. I'm here to deliver.
Yeah, and she does a good job. And I just like they had to, near the beginning of the fight, that water thing gets broken so that the puddle is forming, and it's like the only reason that happens is that so Homura can do this super dramatic step into the puddle. Think Shaft.
Yeah, and also, like, when you see her, as she's saying that won't be necessary, Madoka sees her in the water droplets that are flying past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
She's extra.
I always love seeing Gen's commentary when these fights come back, because like he'd be like, I just wrote the dialogue and then I put in the script they have a fight, and then I got this back and I was like, what? That'd be so rad.
Yeah, so someone comes in here. I made your characters fight cool.
Yeah, he was like, I just wrote that they're in an alleyway, but they're in this like really weird, cool alleyway, and whoa. Whoa.
It's a good little fight, and this episode really does feel like the first chunk of the episode was its own story, and now this is the next bit's sort of split up over the next two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this episode actually feels like maybe the most straightforward of some of the show.
Yeah, it does. And it's all meant to be coming to a head at the end of episode 6, then it suddenly takes a left turn. So.
Yeah. Oh, I do hate in the movie version of this fight, it's playing like a more metal kind of track, like a fighting game, and it's stupid. Like movies.
Yeah, I heard about other musical changes. Like, they changed Mami's main track. What's it called again? Celeste? Something like that?
Credence Justitium. Yeah, they do like a Japanese cover of it. And then when she's fighting Charlotte, Charlotte is like doing this there's like this other BGM where it's like Voistikes, and it's like a little much.
Yeah.
Also, it's incorrect German, so
Oh, well, hang on. No, did you hear about that language?
Oh, Yuki Kajira's fake language for her songs?
Yeah. Which I think she calls Yukiese or something. Like, she gave it her own name, and it's a mix of German and then Japanese and German and Latin and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, so that's like what the original Credence Justitium is in.
Mm.
Is pretty good.
It's like choral scatting. It's kind of great.
Yeah, like because it does sound like it could be a language, but it doesn't. You know, you don't want to worry about words, so it's just the impression of choral chanting stuff.
This is kind of a short one because that's, like we say, it's a pretty straightforward episode.
Yeah.
I will say someone, a listener on YouTube asked if we were at all interested in looking at other Madoka properties once we're done with this. And they mentioned in particular the Madoka Magica mobile PSP game, which has been partially translated at this point.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of interesting stuff of that. Ooh, there's fan translations. That I did not know.
Yeah, parts of it have been translated anyway. But in particular, one of the things I heard about that game that I was interested in was, I think that's the game that has a Homura timeline you can play. It's called the Perfect Timeline, where she just fixes everything.
Ooh.
which is very fan servicey. Like, it's just there for catharsis because it probably isn't a very interesting story. But you might have seen that screenshot of Homura comforting Hitomi.
Oh yeah.
That's because she gets everything so right that she manages to get Kyosuke and Sayaka to hook up.
Hey.
And of course, Hitomi is heartbroken, so Homura's there to comfort her as well.
I wonder who wrote the game.
She's helping everyone.
Yeah, and I know that game is where a lot of the that's like when you first saw the witch forms of the other girls that didn't have witches in the show.
Yeah, there's a timeline where Mami witches out.
But I would definitely also be down for covering a lot of the manga. Because I want to read even all the stupid ass side manga after we cover, the show in Rebellion. I actually played the Vita game, but there's not a whole lot to talk about there. It was fun though.
Okay.
It like mostly just goes through the story.
It's one of those. Oh, that's a shame.
Except at the end, when they kill Walpurgis, they find a secret hot spring that opened up, and then they all go to the hot spring.
For fuck's sake.
But it's a fun action game. You can actually like play as Homura, and you can do the thing where you stop time and then unload a shit ton of rocket launcher shots and then unstop time, and it's great.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
I have read a couple of the side manga. If you're wondering if there is a one that's worth reading, Homura's Revenge.
Heck yeah.
Is probably the best one. It's a little bit silly. The basic idea of it is that Homura goes back on a loop, but what happens this time at the start of this loop is Madoka remembers everything. So it's a loop where the two of them are working together with all of the prior knowledge to try and fix everything.
Yeah.
It starts off a little bit silly, but it gets more serious as it goes in a pleasing way.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite of the manga I've read besides the Different Story, which also has a lot of interesting stuff going for it.
And it's pretty funny in places too.
Yeah. The Different Story also makes a lot of sense because it gives the idea that Kyoko and Mami knew each other for quite a while. And it's like, that would make extra sense why Mami assumed Homura was that way, because she's thinking of Kyoko specifically. And she's like, oh, you're a Kyoko type. I know your type.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are both good manga. All the other ones I've checked out have been trash.
It would also explain why, look, Sayaka, when she's getting riled up, she says something shitty about comparing Kyoko to Mami, and that really seems to get under Kyoko's skin.
Yeah.
So that's like,
You know the mummy.
yeah. That would explain a bit of that if those two had some backstory.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
Yeah. I guess we'll see you next week for episode 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Hope you all have a wonderful week.
Yeah. See you guys.
Bye.